2 days ago, July 19th, 2026, in a stadium in New York, a 19-year-old boy lifted the FIFA World Cup trophy, and then he went on his phone and posted 3 words. Almost completed the set. Not I am the greatest. Not look what I have done. Not a celebration of individual achievement. Just almost completed the set. 3 words that tell you everything about the psychology of Lamine Yamal. At 19, he has won the World Cup, Euro 2024, La Liga, Copa del Rey, the Spanish Super Cup, and his response to winning the most prestigious trophy in the history of sport is almost, because there is still more to collect. And that word almost, and it might be the most psychologically powerful thing any athlete has said after winning the World Cup in the history of the sport. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to PsyWealth. Richie. Today's video is one I have been waiting to make, because 2 days ago, something happened that gave us one of the most perfect psychology lessons I have ever seen in sport. Lamine Yamal won the World Cup at 19, and then said almost, "If you are new here, subscribe." Now let's get into it. Let me start with what Yamal actually said after winning the World Cup. He posted on social media, "Almost completed the set." Now I want you to think about the psychology of that response for a moment. Most people, after achieving the single greatest thing available in their sport, would feel complete, would feel finished, would post something that communicates arrival, that communicates "I made it." Yamal communicated the opposite. He communicated, "I'm still going. The set is not complete. There is still more." That psychological orientation toward what is still ahead rather than what has just been achieved is one of the rarest and most powerful mindsets available to any human being. Because most people peak and then plateau. They reach the highest point available to them and then, consciously or not, begin to coast. Because the hunger that drove them there gets satisfied by the arrival. Yamal's hunger was not satisfied. He won the World Cup and immediately started thinking about what is still missing from the set. Here is something about how Yamal performed during this World Cup that I find genuinely extraordinary. He said, obviously, "I want to score, but I don't go onto the pitch thinking about that. I do it thinking about helping the team. If we win the World Cup, no one will remember whether I scored goals. The important thing is winning." Think about that. He is 19 years old. He is the most talked about young player in the world. Every expectation is for him to produce individual brilliance, goals, assists, decisive moments. And he said, "I don't go onto the pitch thinking about scoring. I think about helping the team win." His teammate Dani Olmo confirmed this directly. He said, "Lamine Yamal is not obsessed with scoring. He prefers the team to win even if he doesn't score. He does what he does for the team to win." The team-first orientation at 19, with the entire world watching and expecting individual brilliance, and is the psychological foundation of why Spain won. Because a team of players who think about winning, rather than individual statistics, is almost always going to outperform a team of individuals thinking about their personal numbers. Here is something about Yamal that created controversy during this World Cup, but that I want to examine psychologically rather than judgmentally. Before the semi-final against France, one of the most talented squads in the tournament, Yamal made boldly optimistic comments about Spain's chances that some people described as overconfident. But his teammate, Jules Koundé, defended him, saying, "At no point have we felt a lack of respect from Lamine. I know Lamine very well, and it is a sign of confidence and an extra motivation for him." That distinction between confidence and arrogance is one of the most important psychological separations in elite performance. Arrogance dismisses the opponent. It says they are not good enough. Confidence affirms the self. It says we are good enough. Yamal was not dismissing France. He was affirming Spain, and then he went out and proved it. There is a specific psychological phenomenon called pre-performance confidence expression, where athletes who verbally affirm their own capability before a high-pressure performance consistently outperform athletes who manage expectations downward. Yamal has been doing this instinctively since he was 16, and it keeps working. Here is something Yamal said before the tournament that now carries an entirely different weight. After what happened in New York, he said, "I imagined lifting the World Cup 1,000 times. 1,000 times. That is not casual daydreaming. That is systematic visualization, the deliberate mental rehearsal of a specific, desired outcome repeated so many times that when the moment arrived, his nervous system already knew what it felt like to be there. Research on visualization in elite sport consistently shows that mental rehearsal activates many of the same neural pathways as physical execution. When you imagine something vividly and repeatedly, your brain begins to treat it as familiar rather than foreign. And familiar things produce less anxiety and more confident execution than unfamiliar ones. Yamal imagined lifting the World Cup 1,000 times. And when the moment arrived on July 19, 2026, in New York, his hands already knew how it felt, because they had been there 1,000 times before. Here is something Yamal said during the tournament that I think is one of the most honest things any young athlete has said publicly about the relationship between performance and criticism. He said winning makes everything hurt less. He explained that he chooses to focus on those who believe in him rather than on the people waiting for him to make a mistake. For Yamal, criticism is simply part of life when expectations continue to rise. Rather than feeling overwhelmed, he embraced the responsibility. That is not naive positivity. That is a sophisticated understanding of how to manage the psychological weight of expectation. Most young athletes who become the face of a national team at a major tournament, who have the entire country's hopes and the entire world's attention focused on them, either crumble under the weight or perform smaller than they are, capable of to protect themselves from the risk of failing publicly. Yamal did neither. He embraced the responsibility. He said winning makes everything hurt less. And then he went and won. I want to come back to that word one more time, almost, because I think it is the most psychologically instructive thing Yamal could possibly have said after winning the World Cup. He has won everything available to him at €19. 2024 La Liga, Copa del Rey, the World Cup. And he said almost completed the set, which means he is already thinking about what comes next. The Champions League, more league titles, more international trophies. The career is 19 years old and he is already building the next chapter in his mind before the trophy from the last one has even been properly celebrated. That is the psychology of infinite growth, orientation that we talked about in our last Yamal video, the refusal to treat any achievement as a final destination, the insistence on keeping the horizon always ahead of you. Most people who achieve something extraordinary at a young age, who win the biggest prize available in their field before they are 20, spend the rest of their career living off that achievement. It becomes their identity, their story, their defining moment. Yamal is 19, he is already saying, almost. That word is going to drive the next 15 years of his career. And I genuinely believe, based on everything his psychology has shown us, that by the time those 15 years are done, the set will be very, very complete. And now I want to speak directly to you, because I think the lesson of Yamal's response to winning the World Cup is one that applies to every single person watching this, regardless of whether you have ever watched a football match. Most of us treat our achievements as destinations. We work towards something, a goal, a milestone, a dream, and when we reach it, we feel complete. We coast, we rest. We let the achievement become the story, rather than the foundation. Yamal's psychology inverts that completely. Every achievement is a foundation. Every trophy is just proof that the system is working. Every arrived destination is the starting point for the next journey. Almost is not a disappointment. Almost is the most motivating word available to a person who has already won everything, because it means the hunger is still here. The drive is still intact. The next chapter is already being written in my mind. What would it change about your life if you applied that word to your own achievements? If instead of feeling complete when you reached a goal, you said almost? Not from a place of dissatisfaction or ingratitude, but from a place of genuine excitement about what is still possible. Yamal won the World Cup at 19, said almost, and started thinking about what comes next. You have your own version of that choice available to you right now. Make it. Lamine Yamal is 19 years old. He has just won the FIFA World Cup. He has won Euro 2024, La Liga, Copa del Rey, the Spanish Super Cup. And he posted 3 words. Almost completed the set. That is not arrogance. That is the psychology of a person who has genuinely internalized that achievement is not a destination. It is a direction, and the direction is always forward. Almost subscribe to PsyWealth. Richie, share this with someone who needs to hear that. Their biggest achievement so far is just the beginning of what they are capable of. We will see you in the next one.